I'm going to pose to you a very simple question today. What is advice? In the CFO role, we give a lot of advice. But what actually is advice, and what is good advice, and what is bad advice? You might have heard the American phrase, the Monday morning quarterback. So in the NFL, pretty much all their games are played on a Sunday. And the Monday morning quarterback is the person that goes, I would have done this, I would have done that. Well, it's really easy to do that after the results. I can tell you the lotto numbers on Sunday morning if the lotto numbers were drawn on Saturday night. But advice is in the moment. I'm going to define good and bad advice as to the process, not the outcome. And it is the classic. You hear athletes talk about it. They look at the process, not the outcome. You could have played an exceptional game, but the other person just play a better game. You were outmatched. Again, using NFL as a reference point, I was watching a post-match interview the other day with the coach, and the coach goes, they were just better than us today. Yeah, we had our chances, but they were better than us. They executed in the moments that they needed to. So I'm going to take that lens with what is advice. Good advice is considered, in my mind, and it's also compounded with knowledge. Considered isn't just the moment that you got sprung that question. If we'd been working with somebody for 6 years and we get a question straight away that we feel like we can give an intelligent answer on straight away, we might be able to do that because of that 6 years worth of knowledge in that business. We might instinctively know what the right path is in that moment to go ahead and provide that advice. Then one step further is to go, this is why we believe this is the right thing to do. Because what you're doing to somebody then is you're sharing with them your rationale. These are my assumptions, this is my understanding, and this is what I believe. To use a very simple example, advice could be something like, I have 10 units of capacity within my business currently, and with what's in my sales pipeline, there's 15 units of work that I can see us doing for the foreseeable future. What should I do? Well, the obvious thing is, hey, we might need to increase our production levels so that we have 18 units of capacity because we want to grow into that capacity and we've already got a level of demand at 15 units of capacity. You're looking at the situation, you're sharing your assumptions, you're providing your understanding of the situation, and then your recommendations thereafter. What if all of a sudden that demand goes from 15 units down to 7 units? Well, could we have foreseen that? What is the probability of things like that happening? So we always look at advice and go, what is the worst outcome we could survive while still making this decision? What is the worst thing that can happen? So with all our advice, we go, if we make this investment and then the world goes to cactus, how does our business or how does our position look thereafter? Do you notice what I'm doing around the advice? I'm not actually trying to predict whether I'm right or wrong. I'm trying to predict what is the baseline, what is the best thing that can happen, and my reasons around it all the time. Because what if my reasons are nonsense or incorrect? Well then, if I'm having that conversation with you, you can go, hey Brendan, that's not right. You need to think about this, this, and this. You've misinterpreted this, or you've misunderstood this, or you've miscalculated this. That is good advice. You're being as transparent in your thinking as possible. So you're being considered in your approach, and you're also being timely. There's going to be other times where you do actually need to step away, step back, do some deep calculations, do some deeper work, do some analysis around that to come to the most intelligent conclusion. But you're doing the same things. You're sharing your rationale, you're sharing your assumptions, because you want a reasonable and an intelligent person to go, yep, you've acted in a considered and thoughtful way and come to your conclusion. What is bad advice? Bad advice is going, yeah, I think we should do this, this, and this. How did you come to that conclusion? What are the assumptions you're making? It's a lack of transparency around it. Now, you might end up with the exact same recommendations, but you haven't shared with the other party how you've come to that conclusion. I think it's just as important to share how you've come to that conclusion as to what the conclusion is. Because what happens? If everything goes great, no one cares. We're all high-fiving each other, and also in practical reality, we're just going business as usual. We got that right. But what if something goes wrong? If I just say, Edward's on the video, just go, Edward, we should just do this, this, and this, and I haven't explained to him why. And 2 months later, that turns out to be the wrong decision based on what's happened in our environment. He didn't know my assumptions. He didn't know why I did that. If he understands the assumptions, you can also then explain why something went wrong. Let me use a simple and laughable example. If I wanted to lose weight and I'm eating a packet of mint slices each night, I weigh myself just at the end of 2 months and my weight's exactly the same. And it turns out that I've been still eating those mint slices every night. Well, the poor decision was, hey, I didn't change my assumptions, I didn't change my diet, I didn't do anything differently, and I'm still the same weight. So I failed in my objective. Versus, hey, if you're going to achieve this objective, you need to cut out the mint slices, you need to go for a walk, you need to go for a jog, you need to think about what you're eating, and you're going to get to that destination. You can share the assumptions. Again, a silly example, but gives you a sense of where your brain needs to be when you're receiving advice. So for you as a recipient of advice, you can sense what good advice is. You should be able to explain it. And last of all, for you providing advice, you should be able to also explain it to somebody who isn't an expert in that field, but goes, I know what they're saying, I understand their rationale, I'm happy to proceed. Or, I'm happy to do nothing at all. If you feel like you're receiving bad advice, it's probably because there's a lack of granularity, there's a lack of detail being provided by that person giving you the advice. Whoever's providing you advice should be able to explain to you their rationale, their thinking, and answer any question that you have, and also be honest and go, oh, I haven't thought about that, or I need to get back to you on that. Not just come up with some answer on the run for the sake of it. So if you feel like you're getting bad advice, push, challenge, get them to explain where the rationales come from. An awesome story that I like about this is, if you've seen the movie The Big Short or read the book The Big Short about the GFC and the people who foresaw this, their favorite way of knowing if somebody didn't know what they were talking about would be, can you just explain it to me a little bit further? Even though the person asking if they can explain it a bit more knew it way better than the person doing the explaining, they wanted to understand if they knew what they were talking about as well.